This tool is a fly press. Unlike the hydraulic press, it requires no electrical power, no hoses, no big bunches of hydraulic oil, and it is a wonderful tool. It's not a cheap tool, and a lot of small home shops probably can't afford a fly press, but in a full-time production shop, this tool is one that can pay for itself. You just saw me bending an offset in a set of hinges so that it'll clear the pintle on the hinge. It's just the way the hinge mounts. And the tooling was quite simple. Just a couple of 3/8 inch bars is all I needed. If I were making a large batch of hinges of that sort, I might make specialized tooling. And I have special tooling for this that does that kind of an offset for other sizes. But I just don't do this size that much, so I can get by with something very simple. These are also referred to as screw presses because that's what makes it work, is this great big screw. And this is a fairly fast screw. It looks like the pitch is fairly normal, but there's actually 4 different leads in this screw, so it's running 4 times faster than what your eye tells you it should. That makes it a very fast tool to go up and down with. This has a 2 1/4 inch screw. And if you can see up here at the top, it has finer threads. That's for this check nut, which acts as a depth stop sometimes, or simply to park the fly press up above where you're working so you don't have to lift it all the way up every time. But that just slides on that extra set of threads and can be adjusted to set your depth. This is a set of dies that does a 1/4 inch offset instead of the 3/8 offset that I was just doing. And that's as simple as these dies need to be. The tool has a 1 inch shank for the tooling. The fly press has a 1 inch shank for the tooling. And this stop collar just keeps you from jamming this in and mushrooming the end up inside the chuck here. It's a pretty good idea if you're using a fly press. And you can make just about any tooling you can imagine. The tools are almost always shop made, although there are some people that do sell tools out there. This is a chisel. This is a 1 inch bolt. The head of the bolt forms the stop collar. I bored it. I've got a set screw, and I can put little chisels in there. It's a 5/8 hole in there, and I can make all sorts of different tools out of smaller material for more delicate stuff. When using a chisel, that stop collar will hold it up off the table so you don't jam the chisel into the table every time you stop. But this chisel is great for doing straight lines down the length of a bar if you're getting ready for something like a twist, or if you're doing pineapple twists. This can be very accurate, especially if you take the time to put a fence in, which I did not for this. So I'm going to get off a little bit doing it freehand. But that makes a very nice, even depth line. And if you do it hot, you can get a pretty deep line. You can split things this way all the way through. When we talk about buying tools, this is a little tool I bought for rolling little hinge eyes. And it just gently squishes. No big pressure here. You can do this under a much smaller fly press. Until that is completely rolled up. I don't know if you can see inside that tool or not. It does kind of jam, so you have to drive this out. But you end up with a nice little rolled hinge eye for some little hinges like this. Now, these are not forged hinges, obviously. These are more of a production hinge, but they're still a nice hinge that my customers appreciate at a greatly reduced price by compared to the hand-forged version. So it's just something I offer. Another thing a fly press really excels at is bending and straightening. This is a 3/4 inch square bar, cold. If you do a nice layout and you really think about this, you can bend a perfect circle cold this way, and it'll do a 1 inch bar. You probably do heavier than that. There's a nice bend just by doing these little presses incrementally. That just barely scratches the surface on what you can do with a fly press. It'll punch holes, it chisels, it chases, it does decorative forgings. You can shape shovel pans and candle holders under it. And I think when we did the candle holder video, we might have actually shown doing a candle holder under this. Lots of things. This is a fairly large one by modern standards. It's a number 6. I think there were 10s and 12s at one point, but you rarely see those being made now. And the smaller ones will do a lot of this stuff. They won't do as much of it as this does. But the delicate chiseling, bending the hinges, things like that, a number 3 or number 4 would probably do just fine. The number 1s are quite light, but they have their uses. They're still available on the used market if you're lucky enough to live in a place that has them. Probably pretty expensive to ship. This one is a new one that came from India. It's imported by Old World Anvils, and they're very good fly presses. So that's just a quick look at it. We'll use it some more on future projects, but I wanted you to know what it was before we got into those. So I hope you found that video enjoyable and give it a thumbs up. Love it if you hit the subscribe button. We'll be back to more hot forging any minute now, and hopefully today I'll get another video done. So head out to the shop, get to work, make something, stay safe, wear your safety glasses, and we'll see you around the corner for the next one.